And now it's time for E24 with Andy.
Hello there. A day on since the shock news of the death of Boyzone star Stephen Gately, tributes continue to pour in. The Irish singer died suddenly at the weekend in Mallorca. He was just 33. A spokesman for his family says Stephen died of natural causes, with suicide or a drugs overdose ruled out. We can now talk to Hannah Fernando, Director of News at Heat magazine, and Phil Gold, who's the Assistant Editor of OK magazine. I know both of you interviewed him, met up with him many times over the last few years. What was he like?
Well, Stephen was just a genuinely nice guy, and, you know, they're few and far between in show business sometimes. And he also had this really great sense of humour. He really was like a cheeky lad as well. He could always come out with a comment and quip when he saw you.
He was genuinely nice, and that's the thing. You know, everyone thinks we're probably just saying this now because this tragic news has come about, but that's not the case. He really was a genuinely decent bloke who would just light up a room when he came into it because he was funny. I remember just having lunch with him just a couple of weeks ago and sitting there, and we were literally just gossiping about all the things that we shouldn't be gossiping about. And he just didn't mind. You know, he was so genuine and so honest and a really decent guy.
Perhaps too honest, maybe. Phil, I know your magazine, OK, you've just been speaking to his partner, Andrew. I mean, how's he feeling? What's he had to say?
Well, Andrew's obviously devastated by it. I mean, it's bad enough, you know, when your partner dies at any age, but the fact that Stephen was so young and the fact that Andrew actually found him. And our editor, Lisa Byrne, you know, as soon as she found out, she texted Andrew and he got back to her immediately and saying, you know, it's just really bizarre because Stephen just looked like he was asleep there on the sofa, and you'd have thought he was just still there sleeping.
Very tragic, and we've seen that Boyzone flew straight out. Last night on X Factor there was no Louis Walsh. He pulled out because obviously he was devastated. He was the band's manager. There have just been loads of tributes flooding in from people like Elton John as well.
Massively. I mean, he was a really popular guy, and I think Louis Walsh, it was the right thing to do for him not to be at X Factor last night because, as Simon said, the show must go on, and that would have been very, very hard for Louis Walsh. He was very close to Stephen. Stephen was very much the driving force, along with Ronan, for Boyzone getting back together a second time round, and very much part of the success. And he was in a really good place. He had so much to look forward to. He was looking forward to the new album. He wanted to do more in the West End too. So he had so much to do and wanted to do. And the boys just flying over there, they will be devastated as well.
They're still massively close. They were massively close.
Yeah, I mean, particularly Shane. I mean, Stephen, a couple of years ago, was Shane's best man. And they really were more like brothers and friends. So I should imagine at this moment Shane is, you know, absolutely devastated as well about it.
And what do you make to all the speculation we've seen, particularly in the papers over the last day or so, about, you know, suicide, drugs overdoses, things like that? The family have obviously denied it, and they must be quite hurt to see these things being written.
Well, it's just horrible. I mean, papers are going to speculate. That's unfortunately what happens. And because there's this gap, because in Spain it was bank holiday today, there's a gap now between his death and any results coming back from a post-mortem. So, you know, there will be speculation, but it's really horrible for the family. And a lot of those have been quashed by the family spokesperson, by their lawyer. And I just think we'll find out the real reason not long now, and hopefully that will put to bed anything that's the papers want to still say.
Just a tragic death.
I think that's the nature of the business now, that people speculate because it's this immediacy that everybody wants to know everything right away. And just in something like this, it's a tragic, unexplained death. And I'm sure, like you say, once the post-mortem appears, then the truth will out. But, you know, Stephen just was this really nice bloke. I mean, there's been lots said about, drinking. But, you know, he liked to drink like anybody.
So does everybody.
You know, but, I mean, say he goes on a binge, that's a bit ridiculous, really.
It's too much.
And what about next year? The album was planned for next year. Will that still happen, do you think?
I don't know is the honest answer, but I'd imagine that the boys...
How far were they into the recording?
They weren't that far down the road with it. It was something he was really looking forward to. I think they were due to be in the studio before Christmas. But I'd imagine it's something that the boys will want to continue doing in memory of him as much as anything, because he was so excited about it.
Thanks for coming in. You're watching E24. Hannah Fernando from Heat Magazine and Phil Gold from OK. You can get much more on Stephen Gately on our website. Let's take a look at some other showbiz stories making the headlines now. And Matt Lucas has confirmed he won't be returning to the West End. The Little Britain star has pulled out of play Prick Up Your Ears after the death of his former partner Kevin McGee, who was found dead in his flat last week. Telstar actor Con O'Neill will now replace Lucas in the role for the rest of the run. After a face-off with soloist Rachel, girl group Candy Rain have become the first act to be voted off this year's X Factor. The act split the judges, with Simon Cowell saying former lap dancers had not been given a fair crack. And it was a bit of a shaky one. Amy Winehouse made her comeback on Saturday night on Strictly Come Dancing. The troubled singer, who's a big fan of the show, massive fan, provided backing vocals for her 13-year-old goddaughter, Dionne Bromfield. Meanwhile, actress Linda Bellingham became the fourth celebrity to be voted off the show. Now, the first new Michael Jackson track to emerge since the singer's death has been released to the media today. The track This Is It features backing vocals from Jackson's brothers, but it's not known whether they were recorded before or after the star died in June. Here's a taster.
I never heard a single word about you. Falling in love was in my plan. I never know that I would be a lover. Come on, just understand. This is I can feel. I'm the light of the world.
Well, our entertainment correspondent Lizo Mazimba has been listening to it too. He's in our interactive newsroom now. Lizo, it all seems a bit mysterious, doesn't it? Because Jacko's record label aren't releasing any details, the family aren't saying anything. Where's this track come from? Is it new? Is it old?
Well, I think it's all part of a very carefully planned media strategy. By doing that, they really get people talking about it because they want a very big build-up to the release of the Michael Jackson movie, This Is It, at the end of the month. And by doing this, they actually get people talking about it, anticipating it. And the other thing, of course, is if, as rumoured, it was actually recorded around the time of Dangerous, which was way back in 1991, if they confirmed that that was the case, people would be saying, well, why is it sat there for 18 years? Is it really because it's not that good or Michael didn't like it very much?
And do you think we can look forward to any more releases in the future?
Oh, absolutely. While there's money to be made, I think, we will see more Michael Jackson tracks emerging. He's been working with people from, like Akon over the last few years and lots of other celebrity producers. And I think there are probably hard discs stuffed full of songs in various stages of completion in America. And as I say, while there's money to be made, I'm sure that we really haven't heard the last of Michael Jackson.
Thank you, Lizo Mazimba, our entertainment correspondent. That's all your showbiz news for now. I'll be back with more just after 9:30 here on BBC News. If you want more in the meantime, you can go online, bbc.co.uk/entertainment news. Joanna.
Thank you very much. See you later. Now, if you're afraid of the dark, then the latest addition to the Tate Modern may not be your idea of a day out. It's a huge steel sculpture